a teacher of Moscow State Pedagogical University. What I'm going to do today with you is to help you to get a bit more prepared for the third part of our listening tasks from the Russian state exam. This task is actually considered to be one of the most difficult ones from the listening section, because the questions are always very tricky. You need to know, you need to have a wide range of vocabulary in order to understand them sometimes. And what you basically need to do in this task, I think you all know this, but still just reminding you that you have 3 answers for 7 questions where you need to choose only one that is correct, and you get 1 point for each of the questions, which means 7 points in general for the whole task. So at the exam, you will have the opportunity to listen to all the recordings 2 times, which is actually, I think, great, because, well, it makes our lives easier, you know. And what I want to advise you is, if you don't get the answer to a question, if you can't really understand it, then just skip it and focus on it during the second recording, yeah, because you will listen to it 2 times and just skip it, it's fine, and during the second recording you may get the correct answer, yeah. So some more tips. A very helpful thing during these tasks is that you have 2 whole minutes to get acquainted with the task before the recording starts. So my first advice for you is use the time efficiently. Don't gaze around during these 2 minutes. Don't think about what your cat is doing at home and other things, but think about the task as long as you have time. Even if you think everything is clear, don't be too confident. Look through everything a second time. Here you can actually do not much if you don't know a word from the task, because no one will help you and you are not allowed to use a dictionary, but you can try to get the meaning from the context. And maybe you will get the right meaning then when listening, yeah, through understanding the recording. Just don't get upset, don't focus on it too much, and don't give up. And the next advice is, don't focus on trying to find the exact words in the text you hear, because they like to use synonyms. So when you get the task, think at once about what other words, what synonyms you could hear in the task itself, which will make everything easier for you. And also mark the keywords that you need to pay special attention to when listening. And before we begin doing the tasks with you together and defining the keywords, I want to say one more thing, which is the best way you can get prepared for any listening task is to listen to native speakers more. So nowadays we of course have a bunch of opportunities to make this happen, which is spending the month or the time you have before the exam on watching English YouTubers instead of Russian ones. Of course, it may be not that interesting for you because, of course, you have a better understanding of Russian, and it's maybe easier for you, of course, to understand Russian speakers, but still, many English YouTubers do have subtitles. If you have problems with understanding, then you can use the subtitles the first maybe week of listening to English native speakers. Just watch films in English, listen to English audiobooks, and pay attention to the language you hear. Try to guess the meanings of the words from the context. Don't use the dictionary at once. And also, one more thing is learning to deal with different accents and dialects, because it may happen that you get a recording that is recorded of people with an accent that you may not understand that well. That's why they shouldn't distract and scare you. Just do more listening and get used to different people speaking with different accents and dialects. Okay, well, let's discuss some of the tasks now. Just 1 second, turning on the first one. Here. On the screen, you can see 7 questions with 3 possible answers for each. The first thing we need to do when we get the paper sheets is, of course, just getting acquainted with them, going through them, and now I want to give you 1 minute to get acquainted with these questions and to try to predict the content of the recording. Please go through these questions during 1 minute, and then I will ask you some questions connected with them. So please, you have 1 minute now. Okay, so the minute is over. It wasn't even necessary to read all the questions and all the answers to get at least an understanding of what this recording is going to be about. And I want you to open to answer these questions, to open the chat. And the first one is, what do we know about Peter? So who is Peter? We haven't even listened to the recording, but we already have some understanding of who this person is. So please, who is Peter? Great, a TV producer. Yeah, so you already answered the question about what Peter's present job is. Yeah, so he's a producer. This is completely correct. Okay. And what kind of experience did he have that helps him now in his job, that helps him being a producer? Yeah, producer and script writer, great. Okay, you even mentioned this one. What kind of experience did he have that helps him now in his job? It was one of the last questions. You may have not really paid attention to this one, but maybe there are some of you who paid attention to the question 25 scripts. 25 scripts was a part of the answer, so we don't know yet whether it will be about 25 scripts in the recording or not. He worked with some actors in Hollywood. Well, teacher experience, great. This is the correct answer, because if you write about work that you worked with some actors in Hollywood, I can't say that it is correct, yes, because it is a part of the answers. Maybe it is the answer that will be incorrect, yeah, so we can't say anything about this for sure right now. Okay, so getting back to the questions, what are the key words in each question and in each answer? What do we need to focus on? So I want you to make maybe a couple of notes now, because you will be listening to the recording and it will just make everything easier for you if you at once know what you need to focus on during listening. So the first question, what do we learn about Peter Green at the beginning of the interview? Yeah, so what do we need to focus on? What is the keyword in this one? Beginning, Thank you, Christina. Yes, beginning of the interview. So basically just what happened at the beginning, what is he speaking about? So nothing really difficult here. Okay, yeah, what do we learn at the beginning? And what are the keywords in the questions? So what 3 things do we need to focus on and try to hear one of them? What is the keyword in the first answer? Describe himself. Of course, he will describe him, but not himself. What will he describe? Childhood, great. Yes, so we may hear something about his childhood and about his parents. Yeah, if his childhood was easy or difficult, yeah, and something about his parents, were they rich, were they poor, yeah, any experience, yeah, working in Hollywood. This is what we could hear. Yeah, just about his life in general, childhood, parents, and then Hollywood. So one of these things, great. Okay, now the second question. How does Peter describe himself at the beginning of his TV career? So yeah, here the keyword is which one? Beginning of what? The keyword is actually not describe himself. I mean, here it is about of the TV career, of course. So he will be speaking about the time he started his TV career, basically. Yeah. Okay, and the 3 questions are already the keywords here, but pay attention to synonyms that can be used, yeah, instead of these 3 words. He may speak about what? Do you understand the word discouraged? Do you understand the word inexperienced and uneducated? I guess so. So he will speak about either his experience or his education, was he educated, uneducated, yeah, and then also maybe he was discouraged, yeah. From the word courage, if you know what courage means, then you know that this is a negative prefix and you can at once understand the word discouraged. Okay, let's move on with the 3rd question. What helped Peter to get his first TV job? Okay, so this question will be about what? First TV job. Yes, he will be speaking about how he got his first job. So what are the keywords here? What are the possible answers? How can we write doing things his way in another way? How could this appear in the recording? His way. How can we say it in a different way? Do you understand what it means? His way, yeah. He did what he wanted. Yes, he did what he wanted, and he decided everything on his own. Yeah, so these are the possible ways. Yeah, actually, we could hear this. He did what he wanted. Yeah, and this means he did things his way. Okay, great. Then meeting a TV boss is clear, and then writing 25 scripts. Yeah, a possible answer as well. 4th question. What did Peter feel while working on his first project? So what feel? Okay, great. So it's going to be about his feelings and then a project. Yeah, Peter's feelings, of course, and first project. Okay, so again, only 3 words here: enthusiasm, confidence, uncertainty. But again, I'm sure they will not appear as they are written here, but there will be some synonyms or other interpretations of them. So you could maybe think of what these 3 words mean, yeah, to imagine then what he could say about his feelings, yeah. Okay, then 5. How does Peter's teaching experience help him be a producer? Yes, thank you. Again, Christina, teaching experience and help. So kind of the benefits of having a teaching experience when kind of being a producer, yeah? So what are the keywords in the 3 answers here, possible answers? Strict mentor. Yeah, if you don't understand what mentor means, then you could actually understand this from the context here, because mentor for his team, which means a person, yeah, who kind of is the head of the team or something. Yeah, so this could be understood from the context. Yeah. Okay, to deal with any people. Great. Yeah, different people can sound there as any people. Yeah. Okay. And what else? Team building techniques. Yeah. So he will be speaking about how well he can kind of rule people and build a team. And yes, great. Okay, question number 6. Which of the following is true about Peter at work? Yes, so already the new answer in the chat here about Peter at work. Yeah, so only one of these is true and the other 2 are false. So what keywords do we have in the answers? What about 1? Do you already know the answer? I'm not sure that it is 1 here. Yeah, low opinion of TV. Low opinion of TV. Okay, what else? And the second one? Never invites freelancers. Yeah, so there will be something about freelancers and maybe even the exact word in the text. Yeah, because I can't think of any synonyms just right now for freelancer. Yeah, and then he is ready to build up his team. Yeah, build up his team. So kind of, yeah, build up his team. Okay, and the last question here: what does Peter dislike about his present job? So what will we hear in the last part of the interview? Yeah, dislike. About his present job and his feelings about it. I think yes, if we're speaking about a person disliking something, then the person expresses the feelings, yeah, and the opinions. So it could be about the feelings as well. To work very quickly. Yeah, and having to travel to and from work, so kind of some words about his way to work and back, whether he likes it or not. So great. Okay, now I guess we are ready to start listening. Just 1 second. I will turn on the listening task right now. First of all, we will listen 1 time. And if I see that you have many answers that are incorrect or you are struggling, then I will make it the second time. Okay, so I think you're ready now. I think you have an understanding of what this recording may be about and what you need to focus on when listening. So let's start.
Now we are ready to start.
Hello everybody! Today we continue our series of radio programs about successful people. How can you become successful in the modern world? Peter Green knows that. He is one of the most successful TV and film scriptwriters in the USA. Hello Peter!
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me here today.
So, Peter, as far as I know, your parents were not very well off. How did a young kid from Minneapolis end up being the scriptwriter and executive producer of Hollywood blockbusters?
Well, I had an intense desire to be successful, even though, to be honest, I had no idea what any of this entailed. I always had a fascination for the movies and television. I was teaching English to junior high school students in Minneapolis and was in my mid-20s when I decided I wanted to try writing for TV. It was an exciting time for television. Saturday Night Live was the newest show, and there seemed to be a lot of opportunities. I was so naive and ignorant. I came to Los Angeles not knowing anyone or anything. Never had written anything. I still thought if I didn't do it, then I would never have the chance to do it. So I immersed myself in the learning process. I took extension courses. I studied other scripts and just sat down and wrote.
Did it take you long to get noticed?
In fact, I wrote 25 screenplays before I got my first job. I sent a spec script to Remington Steele. Lots of people say, don't send spec scripts of the show you want to pitch to, but sometimes it does pay to break the rules. They not only accepted that spec script, they eventually hired me to be on the staff.
Do you remember your first day in a film studio?
I remember going to the set on my first day and the crew was readying a huge billboard for an actor to climb up. I turned to him and asked if he was excited to do it, and he replied matter-of-factly, "If it's in the script, I'll do it." Then I realised it's in the script because I wrote it that way. It was absolutely thrilling to see and hear that first script come alive on television. Even when it's a last-minute change in a script that's requested for the film and we stay up late at night, get it down, send it up to San Francisco and meet the next evening to watch it on the screen. That level of thrill has never left me.
So you gave up teaching. Do you ever miss the classroom?
The teaching profession left its mark on me. The staffers call me Teacher Man because every single day for the last 15 years, I feel I've been the teacher to staff writers. I'm very good at what I do. Lots of writer-producers are just writers with another title, without the necessary management skills it takes to work with writers. Learning how to manage junior high school kids was great training in managing, teaching, inspiring a writing team.
What is your philosophy?
I believe in raising people up to do the level of work they can do. I feel strongly that the best writing today is on television. We do nearly everything in-house, with just a few guest freelancers that we know. It's been very gratifying to give a number of people breaks on the show. I really enjoy my job. TV is a highly collaborative medium. We have 6 writers on the current show, and we team up on every script. It's faster that way, easier to bounce ideas off one another. And that's the way I love to work. Commuting is tough, but for now, I can honestly say about my work, I love it.
Thank you for talking with us today, Peter.
Thank you.
Okay, so my question to you is, could you please write down the numbers of the questions that you were struggling with and that you skipped because, you couldn't really 100% understand what the answer was? So what were the most difficult questions? 3 and 7, okay. 7, I even understand why. I will explain you later. I expected 7, and you would write this 4 and 5. Oh, 1, 2, 7, or 1 and 7. I hope 1 and 7. Okay, 4 and 5. Okay, as they're different answers, I will turn on the recording then one more time, okay? And you will focus only on these the questions that you skipped, okay? So one more time, please.
You have 15 seconds to complete the task.
Here's one of the most successful TV and film scriptwriters in the USA. Hello, Peter.
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting me here today.
So, Peter, as far as I know, your parents were not very well off. How did a young kid from Minneapolis end up being the scriptwriter and executive producer of Hollywood blockbusters?
Well, I had an intense desire to be successful, even though, to be honest, I had no idea what any of this entailed. I always had a fascination for the movies and television. I was teaching English to junior high school students in Minneapolis and was in my mid-20s when I decided I wanted to try writing for TV. It was an exciting time for television. Saturday Night Live was the newest show, and there seemed to be a lot of opportunities. I was so naive and ignorant. I came to Los Angeles not knowing anyone or anything. Never had written anything. I still thought if I didn't do it, then I would never have the chance to do it. So I immersed myself in the learning process. I took extension courses. I studied other scripts and just sat down and wrote.
Did it take you long to get noticed?
In fact, I wrote 25 screenplays before I got my first job. I sent a spec script to Remington Steele. Lots of people say, don't send spec scripts of the show you want to pitch to, but sometimes it does pay to break the rules. They not only accepted that spec script, they eventually hired me to be on the staff.
Do you remember your first day in a film studio?
I remember going to the set on my first day and the crew was readying a huge billboard for an actor to climb up. I turned to him and asked if he was excited to do it, and he replied matter-of-factly, "If it's in the script, I'll do it." Then I realised it's in the script because I wrote it that way. It was absolutely thrilling to see and hear that first script come alive on television. Even when it's a last-minute change in a script that's requested for the film and we stay up late at night, get it down, send it up to San Francisco and meet the next evening to watch it on the screen. That level of thrill has never left me.
So you gave up teaching. Do you ever miss the classroom?
The teaching profession left its mark on me. The staffers call me Teacher Man because every single day for the last 15 years, I feel I've been the teacher to staff writers. I'm very good at what I do. Lots of writer-producers are just writers with another title, without the necessary management skills it takes to work with writers. Learning how to manage junior high school kids was great training in managing, teaching, inspiring a writing team.
What is your philosophy?
I believe in raising people up to do the level of work they can do. I feel strongly that the best writing today is on television. We do nearly everything in-house, with just a few guest freelancers that we know. It's been very gratifying to give a number of people breaks on the show. I really enjoy my job. TV is a highly collaborative medium. We have 6 writers on the current show, and we team up on every script. It's faster that way, easier to bounce ideas off one another. And that's the way I love to work. Commuting is tough, but for now, I can honestly say about my work, I love it.
Thank you for talking with us today, Peter.
Thank you. This is the end of the task. You now have 50.
Okay. Did it help? The second time. You know, about the 7th question, I guess the problem is that they used a word that is not frequently used in students' books, and you may have not come through it during your learning English, you know. That's why the 7th question is an example of when you have a word in the recording that you just don't know. And yeah, commuting, yes. Okay, so do you know what this means? It is about question number 7. Anya has just written out that it was about commuting. Yeah, great. Actually, to get to work and back. So it's kind of the process of getting to work and back. It's called commuting. And that's why the right answer for the 7th question was which one? Yeah. Okay, even more people, yeah, who guessed it correctly. So I even have a quotation from the recording. He said, commuting is tough. Yeah, so kind of difficult, and commute means getting to work and back. Okay, great. What about the first question? What answer do you have there? Yeah, 1. Okay, great. Because he said that his parents were not very well off, and then the interviewer, the host, asked how did a young kid from Minneapolis end up being a scriptwriter? So kind of from such a place as Minneapolis, like, and then achieving such great results, yeah. But his childhood years were not easy because his parents, yeah, he's not from very well off family, which means well off, rich, synonyms, yeah. Okay, great job. Second question, what is your answer for this one? Okay, the second one, yeah. Inexperienced, because he said, I never had written anything. I immersed myself into learning process. So before he came there, yeah, he had never written any scripts, and then he started writing them. Okay, great. Third question, your answers for this one. Okay, yeah, the first one is the correct one. You had some issues with the question number 3 first, because he actually mentioned something about 25 scripts, but it wasn't the thing that helped him getting his first TV job. Yes, his persistence, great, his persistence and doing things his own way. I even have a citation again for those who maybe didn't understand this. People say, don't send it, but sometimes it does pay to break the rules. Yeah, so this phrase, it does pay, yeah, to break the rules. So sometimes it is really great to make your own decisions without listening to other people and to their advice. Okay, question number 4. 1, 2, yeah. Okay, so enthusiasm was the correct answer. Did you remember the word that that Peter used? He didn't say enthusiasm. Yeah, thrilling. Okay. Oh, you're so attentive. Okay, yeah, thrilling, which is connected with enthusiasm, kind of, yeah. So if you understand this word, then you know that it's connected with this one. But again, it was not about confidence and uncertainty, so only the first question is left here. Question number 5. It was tricky, yeah, but it is the correct answer. Yeah, the second one. He knows how to deal with different people, yeah, because he said that when he was teaching, he kind of learned, he had a great training in managing people. So again, here we have the word deal with, the phrase, yeah, but in the recording we have manage, which is basically the same, but you need to understand that it manage means deal with, and then, you know, this second is the correct answer here. Okay, 6, 3, 1. Okay, so answer 3 prevails here. Oh, misclick. Okay, misclick. Yeah, then it's 3, of course. He is ready to build up his team. He said that they team up on every script, and it's a highly collaborative medium. So yeah, of course. Okay, and 7th question is the one that we have already discussed, which was the most difficult one, because we were not ready to hear the word commute, yeah, and that's why it just kind of confused us, yeah, having to travel from work and back. But yeah, the 3rd one is the correct one. Okay, I need to say that you are doing a really great job. Let's look at one more task here, but I want you to answer my question. What do you think? Which recordings are more difficult to deal with, long ones or short ones? More difficult to deal with, long recordings or short recordings? Long, yeah, Alona and Anya. Oh, one said user said that short recordings. Really? Okay, but I think that long recordings are more difficult to deal with, because if you have too much information, then it's difficult to choose the information you need from the big amount of information. So yeah, I would say that for me, long recordings are more difficult to deal with as well. There are lots of phrases that make us confused, yeah, and it's done on purpose, you know, by the authors of these recordings. So of course, and shows you don't have time to think. Okay, that's an interesting one. You don't have time to think. Yeah, you can listen to this a second time. So each of them has its pros and cons, but still for most people, maybe long ones are more difficult to deal with. But still, I agree with user. I don't know your name, but of course, yeah, then you don't have too much time to think about the questions, yeah? Okay, let's move on with our next recording, with our next paper sheet. This is gonna be a shorter one, so we can compare what was more difficult, the longer one or the shorter one. So let's look at these. What will we hear in the first, no, wait 1 second. So again, 1 minute for you to look through the tasks, and I will ask you a couple of questions again about what do you think the recording is going to be about. So 1 minute for you to look through these. Okay, so having had a quick look at the questions, who is Crispin? Yes, a singer. Yeah, probably. His career is definitely connected with music. Okay, composer. Well, okay, yeah, maybe. Usually it's kind of interconnected, so you know, could be a composer. Okay, and please name 6 topics Crispin will speak about. We know it from the questions. Communism, yes. University, correct as well. First name, yeah. First house, great. Anything else that was there? Modern music. I don't know about modern or not modern, but yeah, it will definitely be something about music. And this year, so yeah, bands, great, and about his band. Yeah, okay, great job. So all the topics mentioned. Secret party, not sure about this one, but it is connected with communism. I think, yes, there will be something about the secret party in terms of communism. Okay, I think we won't do such a detailed, you know, definition of the keywords here, because we've already discussed what topic there will be in the recording and what you need to focus on. So let's move on to the recording at once. So a bit more time to get acquainted with the questions and the answers, and then let's start.
Now we are ready to start.
Here we are then from Radio 1, and in a corridor with Spin, a pop star.
Hello.
Spin, is this your name then?
No, it's not. It's just that most people think that Crispin is too embarrassing to call me. They call me Spin because it's the only kind of cool abbreviation that you can make from a terrible name like Crispin.
Fine.
It's not my fault, you know. It's my parents'. From a very early age, when they called me it, I would cry for months in my cot, and they didn't know why, because I couldn't explain that it was because they'd named me Crispin. But then I got it out of my system. It could have been worse. I could have been called Darryl.
Where did you study?
Yeah, my parents said over and over again that university could improve my chances of career development. So I went to Sheffield. I did philosophy and theology, but I dropped out after 2 years. I took a year off to get into pop music, and I always thought I might go back, but I'd never enjoyed school, and I used to get into a real panic before the exams. In fact, even now I feel nervous about all this stuff, and the idea of going back never happened. No, I don't really like universities as places, to be honest. They give me the creeps.
What were you like then, when you first went to college?
You know, I was 18 and I was into this kind of communist thing. And I thought I was a real communist, but it never occurred to me to join the Communist Party. We got a house of our own, and we were the only people in the whole of Sheffield University to have a house of our own, so it became like a commune, and we were like members of some secret society. In fact, our secret life was rather innocent. You know, everyone would come around and there'd be 20 or 30 people there having parties.
Have you learned much in this last year? Because, you know, you've just grown, and people's respect for you has grown so much in the last year.
We were pretty much ignored last year, and then it started changing for our people all of a sudden this year. I think it's because everyone's kind of revived themselves. We brought back to life some forgotten ideas, and we also got interested in folk music. I think we're doing something new now. Our work is really creative and rewarding. This is the greatest satisfaction of my life. I've met many people, some of whom have been an inspiration to me. That really is Hollywood. It turns into a film. It's just like a fantasy world.
Have you written any new songs then? Is there an album coming out?
There is. I've got a kind of library of ideas, but the problem is that I have to be on my own. It's like, you know, when you're a little kid and you're playing in the corner of the living room with your cars or whatever. You're in the middle of this fantasy, and the moment you notice your mum saying, "Ah, how sweet," and looking at you, the magic charm disappears instantly. But I've increased this library, and I'm going to leave in December. I'm going to rent a cottage in the middle of nowhere and work really hard.
You're one of the few pop stars that we never hear talking about cars or your bank account. What do you do with your money? Better yet, what's the first expensive thing you bought?
The first expensive thing that I bought was a house.
What was it like owning your first home?
At the time I bought it, I had no idea how famous I really was. It was across the street from a school, and we had kids coming across all day knocking on the door. It was crazy. The house was on a main road. It was a busy road full of cars, but that didn't bother me. The problem was the people around. Sometimes, when I went out, I had to cover up most of my face. So we put an end to all these problems, sold the house, lost a part of money, and bought a new house. That's probably the best investment I've made, my new house.
It all sounds as though you don't like your fame and your fans.
Why? Music fans are among the most reasonable groups of people in the whole world.
Sounds great. Do you mean that fans going wild at the concerts are perfectly reasonable?
You know, I don't like people to go wild, but I'm sure that keeping feelings of irritation and annoyance bottled up is a really bad idea. For starters, where would you find a bottle big enough to contain the oceans of anger created by someone calling your favourite band rubbish or good dinner party music? If you leave all that stuff inside, you're asking for headaches and other health problems. So let your emotions out.
Okay. What was the most difficult question in this case here? Secret party 5 and 6. I thought you would say 7, honestly, everyone. I feel like the last questions are usually the most difficult one, maybe because you think that everything is already over, but then you realize that, oh no, that there was one more question, and then, okay, let's check the answers then, right now. So what is the answer for the first question? It's quite easy one. Yeah, he didn't like crispin because it sounds like crisps, you know. Yeah, of course. It sounds awful. I don't think that the name sounds awful, but it is a correct answer here. Okay, yeah. The second question. Not 2, yeah, it was 3. Why 2? Why 2? 1 second. Make him study hard for the exams. He didn't actually say anything about studying hard, because the main point was, yeah, that I used to get into a real panic before the exams. Even now, I feel nervous about all this stuff, and nervous is, again, synonym to anxious. Yeah, so they cause a feeling of anxiety in him, and you know, even as an adult, he kind of still gets nervous about hearing the word university. Okay, weird, but still, maybe he had some kind of bad experience. Okay, but the third one is the correct answer. Okay, third question, please. Communism. Yes, DVA, dva, yes. Correct, the second one, definitely. Because he wasn't going to join a communist party. And then about secret parties at his house, yeah, so he had secret parties, but he said that they were completely innocent, so he was obviously not worried about them. Okay, great job. Question number 4. Yeah. Which music did they begin to play? Which kind of music? Who remembers? Folk music? Yeah, this is correct. So the music changed a bit. Okay, question number 5. Yeah, the right one is 3. So he even said that he wanted to take a cottage somewhere in the woods, and then he needs to be all alone. Yeah, to write songs. Okay, question number 6. Yeah. Yeah, so he did say some things about investing money and stuff, but the main thing why he moved was because he was in the center of attention, and he even had to cover up his face when he went out. So of course the neighbors and the people around were annoying, and that's why he couldn't stay there. And the last one here, Crispin thinks music fans are being reasonable. Yeah. Okay, great. So there was something about rubbish, but it even doesn't really have logic in it, because of course he can't think it reasonable when other people call his band rubbish. So of course it's number 3, yeah, express their feelings and stuff. Okay, I guess that this is everything for today. 50 minutes went quite quickly for me. It was really interesting to have a conversation with you in such a form, but still you did almost everything right and did a great job. Thank you very much. Thank you. If you have a question, you can ask them. If not, you can go and have some free time or whatever. Okay, so thank you very much for coming. I wish you good luck, stay safe, and see you next time.